So, Sandra, you've been helping with the Senior Citizens Tea Party this year and last year. Could you tell me a bit about why you help with that?
Yes, so I've been involved with it for quite a few years now, but for the last few years I've been putting the entertainment together, and it just gives me a real buzz. It's great on so many different levels. It's great to see the church coming together and working together to bless the local community, and it's just wonderful when we do the entertainment to look out and see the sea of faces of all the people that have come to visit and come to the tea party, and they're just having such a great time. It's lovely to think that they've come into church to do that and that we've been able to bless them in that way. And another thing that I think is great is just the age range of people from the church that can work together to help this. So you've got people who are at the party sitting with the guests and talking to them and being blessed by having those conversations and talking to people. And then also we've got in the entertainment, we've got children as young as 5 and 6 who are getting up and performing. And so that is really great for them to be able to be involved, to see that we're doing things as a church for the local community, and that even though they're still really young, they can be a part of that and that they can bless people, and it's not just the grown-ups that can do things. So I just think that's really great, and I don't know what else we do in church that maybe has such a large age range of people working together to do something for the community and to show God's love. So I just think it's a fantastic event.
Where have you seen God at work in the last 12 months?
I'm part of a house group and co-lead a house group, and one of our members became sort of chronically unwell and lost his confidence to go out. And so as a house group we would go and visit him. Then he became unable to manage with the carers coming in, and he was transferred to hospital, and again the house group went to visit him at hospital as well as his carers. And finally he was moved to Lings Bar, and again we carried on visiting. And I think the witness of the church to the carers meant that they could really see God at work in a practical way. So when he died, the carers liaised with us and also with Mike about the funeral. And although there weren't a huge number of people at the funeral, I think nearly every member of the house group was there. And since then we've had contact from the carer who's really been impacted by the love shown by the house group and the church towards this person.
This year you went out with the church to Uganda. Could you tell us a little bit about what you saw God at work doing there?
The thing that really struck me about Uganda is the people were very poor, and so materially they had very little, but they were always really happy, really thankful for everything they had, gave thanks for everything before they ate meals, and there's just a much happier way of living than I think here in the UK, because people were just grateful for the little they had, not hankering after something more all the time. I was impacted by the fact that people have to pay to go into hospital or pay to go to the health centre, and that meant that for some people they didn't stay as long as they maybe should have stayed, but that actually family and friends gathered round to pay hospital fees to enable people to have the treatment that they needed. And we had the opportunity to go in to one of the health centres that was run by the church and pray with the patients. And that was a really moving experience. And I know a couple of people went back the next day to see how everybody was, and most of the people that we prayed for had already been discharged, and the ones that hadn't were improving. So that was a real answer to prayer and encouragement for us.
Jason, can you tell me where you've seen God at work in the last 12 months?
Is there
anything kind of at church or interactions you've had with people at church, people who have prayed for you,
Yes.
something that you've learned?
Well, I think, I've actually, when I started coming to this church years ago, I joined a house group, which I think are fantastic things. and that was great. But that, through various reasons fell apart. People moved away and things, and we actually had our son around that time too. So I've rejoined, and now I'm in a house group again in the last few months, and it's just really nice to then have those people to talk to, and I think just sharing with other people who've been there or who are also going through that at the same time. And I think it's just, you realize, oh, it's not me, it's not just me that's going through these things, it's like everyone, all parents go through these things. So I think just sharing your concerns with other people and then having them pray and being able to pray together about these things and praying for them. So I think it's just, it's nice that, you're not alone, and no one can do this by themselves, and it's just having that larger community.
So, Dawn, where have you seen God at work in the last 12 months?
Well, this October we went to Uganda, and that was the first time that I'd ever been to Africa, and excited but a little bit scared just as to what we would find there and how we'd be received and what the food would be like, and would we be safe. We had have lots of vaccinations, and we had to take our malaria tablets. And oh my goodness, did we see God working there. And it was just such a privilege to be part of that, and we were really taken out of our comfort zone. I think all of us that went would say that. It was just a different environment that we'd never experienced before, but actually we could see God work because we weren't relying on our own on ourselves, really. We were seeing God work, and that was so exciting. And I've tried to bring that back, really, and just, especially the world as it is right now, with this, it makes you realise we don't have control over everything. In Uganda, that's obvious. It was obvious we didn't have control. But back in our Western world, we think we have, and actually we haven't, and God is in control.
Stories to share?
Personal, well, while we were out there or since we've come back, I mean, there's a lot, a bit of both. Okay. Well, we were asked to talk to a group of 600 people about marriage. And Steve and I have done marriage courses in the past, but maybe we've had about 20 maximum. And that was just, we had no Wi-Fi, so we had taken no books out with us. So it was actually just saying, God, what do you want us to talk about? The lovely thing is, the things that we actually did talk about, we know through people that are still out there, the vicar that's still out there, Kosam, that actually he's using some of the material that we used then to talk to others. So that's a great way that God used us to then help others to carry on. So that was one thing. And then when we came back, I ended up I wasn't feeling very well, and actually thought I had a pulmonary embolus. I'd got quite a lot of pain breathing, and it had been a long flight. We'd had a long journey coming back down from the north to the airport, and then a long journey on the aeroplane, and I hadn't moved much at all. And I thought I might have a PE. And I took myself off to A&E, and there met somebody who I've known from school, who was a good friend. Our sons were good friends, and she, we were just chatting, and actually she the next day rang me, because fortunately we were both discharged, we were both fine, and the next day she rang me and said, Dawn, I want to come to church. I want to know more about Jesus. And you just think God can use us in ways that we can never understand and never expect. So, and she's still coming to church.
Great,
so that's great.
So where have you seen God at work in the last 12 months?
I think it's been really good to see God at work in the things that are happening with the children at Christ Church. Particularly one thing that's been a real blessing to us as a family is the Kindle group for Year 5s. I think it's been really noticeable that Iona's got a lot out of doing that.
I think Kindle's really helped bring me closer to God, because we've learnt a lot about the Bibles, and especially focusing on Mark's Gospel, and it's just really nice to go and have fun with friends.
That sounds great. And Ian, is there anything else you'd like to say about what you've seen this past 12 months?
I think it's been obviously help out a bit of now work at Hope Nottingham, and it's been great to see how kind of members of the church community have been involved with that and supporting the work that goes on in the kind of wider community, the wider Christian community. not just here on a Sunday morning, but how people from this place are getting involved with lots of other things, so the food bank and supporting through job clubs, and the number of people from church getting involved in that is really encouraging thing to see.
Great, well, thank you very much.